Hi, my name is Michał, and I'd like to welcome you to another episode of IT Leadership Insights by Future Processing. Tech driving the world change is the topic of our conversation today. Technology is more than just an integral part of business success. It's a driving factor of the world change in a broad sense, because as a consequence of digital era, we harness mobile, cloud, ML, AI, you name it, soon quantum computing, not only to improve operations, but also daily lives of whole societies, facilitating globalization and translating into GDP. The pace of change is rapid already, and technology only increases that process and increases this velocity. But that's not bad news. People are leveraging technology to make the world a better place. And more organizations and companies are on a mission to help grow the global tech for good movement, which is truly worth recognition. My guest today is Krzysztof Karolczak. I'm really looking forward to this conversation. Would you be so kind and tell us a few words about yourself, please?
Yeah, great to be here. Thank you for the invite. And I'm Krzysztof Karolczak. I'm a founder of Invedo. Invedo is a software house that helps founders with a mission and vision to bring their impact to the world. And so that's why I'm so excited with the topic today. I believe there's a lot to cover.
That's a great mission, and that really corresponds with what we believe here at Future Processing, where we aim to create solutions that empower people and have this positive contribution. So I'm also, I think it's very, very relevant for us, hence this invitation. But moving towards the discussion, I guess that with technology is like with, well, every other thing, every stick has two ends. Tech provokes both hopes and fears, and there's definitely a huge potential in technology, but we can't afford to waste it.
Yeah, if technology is a stick, I think it's also a leverage, and all tech companies out there have a responsibility to think where would they put the leverage. And I think this is a topic we should have a broader discussion on amongst the tech community. And technology changes the world, and we're responsible, as every founder, every company that does operate in this field, how this technology is used, and that this leverage is something that will impact our world, and we're seeing this already happen.
When it comes to prompting fears with technology, there's this report by McKinsey that I'd like to refer to that says that, well, generally people are thinking rather positively when it comes to long-term benefits of technology, especially when it comes to health, etc. Many are also concerned about the negative impact of their lives, in particular in the areas of job security, safety and trust.
Yeah, I mean, technology is a tool. It's a hammer that we have in toolboxes, and it's neither good or bad. And in a sense, in this way, it's not the technology we should be fearing, it's the direction we're heading in. I guess we're in this very pivotal moment in the world history where this growth paradigm is slowly coming to an end, in a sense that we cannot, as a global economics, continue to sustain a growth, and we had this target of 4-6% of growth of GDP worldwide, and this is something that is probably coming to an end, and technology will be one of the factors that will accelerate this change, or perhaps will help to transition us to this new reality. So I feel that we have a much broader discussion of things like basic universal income, but this is something that technology will be an enabler, but it will not be the driving factor.
Okay, so although technology is fueling the disruption, it can also smoothen it, paradoxically.
I think so. I mean, if we think of what's possible now in the world, the technology actually opens this field, broadens it very much. You can think about reaching millions of people with any communication. You can think about transferring value and assets between people that are located in very different places. You can think about algorithms that are autonomous contracts, and they actually execute contracts based on trustless algorithm that blockchain is aspiring to do. So actually tech opens up a broader possibility of things we can do, and it's up to the companies that yield this technology that to decide what's the ethical and moral aspect of what they're doing in the world, and what's the evolutionary purpose of their companies.
Ethics is a very important thing here, I guess, especially when it comes to AI and concerns that it can go basically in any direction. It can either help us as it is helping now, or we can end up in a new Matrix-like reality. I guess that's some people definitely fear that. But you've already started to, you've already mentioned good few examples of change driven by technology. And I think that it's worth showcasing how it's how done well. It really this technology leverage is really doing very good things in very different sectors. For example, healthcare. Let's focus on that one first, because today we're not only using technology to support diagnosis and treatment, but also to discover new drugs, to improve longevity, to ease access to health via telemedicine, etc. And that's really relevant now in the pandemic times which we are in at the moment.
Yeah, I think I can share a very personal story. I was diagnosed with a melanoma, so I had skin cancer that was diagnosed in a very traditional way, with a human being watching every spot on your body. And I feel that we're already there in technology to have that process fully automated. This is a pattern recognition task that computers are really good at, and I believe that the MIT algorithms for spotting changes on the skin are already much better than experienced physicians. So that are areas, limited areas or niches where this improvement is already showing its effect. And I'm looking forward to this positive change in probably many people's life, because then some of the diseases that can be found early on can be diagnosed and treated without any cost for the society.
Definitely, I also hope that technology will help us there, as it's also helping in other verticals, such as, for example, food chain or production, solar generation, etc.
Yeah, that's something I'm very passionate about. We've been working with Swedish partners and Swedish Ministry of Agriculture to actually enable a process of solar regeneration. Farming is a difficult task, and all the people that are bringing our food and making this happen, that we can enjoy such a variety of produce on our kitchen tables, they're doing extremely hard work, but it also comes with an impact for the environment. And the soil quality is deteriorating everywhere in the world, and actually the regenerative practices are something that is very well known and been there for generations. So our question was, how can technology help here? And I believe technology can be an enabler which connects environmentally aware businesses and farmers. And with mathematical models, you can actually calculate the CO2 stored in ground through these regenerative practices and enable automatic payments to the farmers for introducing those regenerative practices. And we've launched a pilot. This will be an open source project, hopefully going beyond Sweden next year. And if you take this into scale, if we improve the quality of our soil everywhere in Europe, we're already 30% done with the combating of the effects of climate change, or even reversing some of it. So food chain is part of the solution, and of course one of the many. I don't believe there's a silver bullet that will change climate, but technology will enable more of those methods to be super effective.
Wonderful. That's a really interesting example, and it's amazing to hear that such things are happening. And I guess it's a perfect story here, because we've already proven here that technology is already doing good and it's used for good. But were we to think about the future, many questions arise, like what to expect, how to prepare, how to harness technology for good. What are your predictions?
Yeah, I think we'll see many disruptions, but this is just extending the number of tools we have in our toolbox. And of course, you've mentioned quantum computing. It's interesting to see how much of our world is based on the paradigm that we cannot unmultiply big numbers, and this will change with quantum computers. So a lot around our encryption and security will have to be redesigned. But that's something we're already aware of. The most interesting things are things that we're not really aware of, and that will be real disruptions, because every black swan is real black swan when it happens, in a way that no one really expects it. And a lot has changed the last 9 months, let's say, or 7 months in the world. So I believe there'll be, well, there's not a good way to prepare. What I feel is that the moral responsibility for this technology should be emphasized, that it's in the hands of companies and businesses, not entirely in the hands of governments, because we see this tech disruption becoming much quicker than any legislative process that is ongoing.
That's a very interesting point you raised. I think governments are instrumental when it comes to ensuring that these tech transitions are well managed, and are crucial when it comes to encouraging this innovative development. But at the same time, it's individuals and civil society that at the end of the day contribute to the overall impact of this management of technology by building this tech for good movement. And for me, I see that fitting into these brackets is a new imperative for business leaders, and here's where the emphasis is.
Yeah, definitely. The thing you call tech for good is actually probably a more complex landscape of companies reinventing themselves, and we see a new generation of very conscious business leaders coming in. And we've lived in a shareholder supremacy world for quite a long time, and where the shareholder profits were actually the only evolutionary purpose of existing of companies' existence. Now there are more and more companies that incorporate, like benefit corporation, B Corps, that incorporate with this interconnectedness in mind, that everything is a living ecosystem. Shareholders, stakeholders, main suppliers, employees, they all form an ecosystem where the needs of every part of this ecosystem have to be met for this to flourish and be sustainable. So I'm very consciously looking into the benefit B Corp movement, seeing more and more also Polish companies come to incorporate under this pledge of sustainability. So I'm looking forward to that, because if we think that companies are getting more and more efficient in what they do, it also that raises the question: what's the goal, the end goal of existence of a company?
I'm also looking forward to that. I'm also looking forward to this future. I'm curious whether in 5-10 years we'll actually be in a position where, I don't know, I will use autonomous car, blockchain to do contracting, etc., because these solutions are there today, but are not there yet when it comes to embracing them. I'm just keen on understanding whether we are on the right path to actually be in that place, or perhaps not. What's your opinion?
Yeah, I'm fairly confident that our children will not drive cars. I mean,
okay,
I'm
so doing a driving license will be not anymore a thing for teenagers.
True. I guess that will be only a pleasure thing, right? You can drive
just for fun.
Just for fun. But yeah, I believe that then it's how do we use this human potential that's unlocked by not driving a car, right? If you think about how much time is locked actually in this mode of living, or in this part of living, then you unlock that. And the question is, how do we use this, and what will be the ways this additional human productivity, potential, and creativity will be used and harnessed? And that's a very open question. I believe that we'll see technology being more and more invisible in our lives. We'll get to this level of user experience that will be totally transparent, and we'll see more devices that are with us and can interact with us in a more human, natural way.
Like wearables, etc.
Yes, we see an explosion in audio, of course, and there are more and more devices that we wear in our ears, which has been an area of our body that was not used that frequently. But then it just opens up the world to basically freely communicate with people or machines in the same way. Maybe sometimes not knowing if we're talking to a machine or a human being, and that's something that might make many people unease and afraid. But I'm looking quite confident into that part of the future.
The lines are definitely more and more blurred, and I guess every generation has a different threshold when it comes to this acceptance of how disruptive tech can be for them. So say, for example, for my grandma, a smartphone would be too much. For me, a chip would be too much. But I guess for my kid, a chip would be the sexy thing to have, to be, you know, interconnected with friends, etc., etc. So I guess that gradually over time we're gonna progress whether we want it or not.
Well, I still believe that this is a cycle, that's a sinusoid, and that will not be more and more machines as we go, but will be more and more connected to other human beings. And by reducing these barriers, it will not mean that we spend more time on social media. It means that social media will evolve into platforms that would create meaningful connections between people, and that's something I'm really looking forward to.
I'd like that as well. Thanks for sharing your thoughts. It was really thought-provoking. I really liked it. Summing up this conversation, I would say that tech is, as you've said, neither good or bad. It's just the way we use it. So let's not sugarcoat it, but let's not consider it the devil in the room as well. Interesting times ahead, definitely. Yeah, let's see how it goes.
Yeah, I think the responsibility for the driving of technology forward lies in the hands of all entrepreneurs that are out there, and this is a discussion we should be having also in Poland. What solutions do we create, and how we're responsible for what we create as the tech scene here in Poland evolves.
Couldn't agree with you more. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you, our viewers, for being with us on this another episode of IT Leadership Insights by Future Processing. If you've liked it and found it useful, please share it and put a good word for us. And please do drop us a line as well if you'd like to have another topic covered in one of the future episodes. Thank you. That was IT Leadership Insights by Future Processing.